Go.
This is the press conference for the apocalyptic bastards. Coach, are you upset that you don't have any Broncos wide receivers on your team?
Yeah, that Eric Decker, I love those white receivers. And the fact that he's scoring like 3 or 4 touchdowns a game, it's really hurting me. It's taken from Jacob Tamme, the one guy I thought was going to be scoring touchdowns for the Broncos. And it's just really got my whole season kind of depressed. I ended up drafting Jacob Tamme thinking that I had a sleeper tight end. And now he's really sleeping on me. He isn't doing anything.
What happened to the Bastards last week?
Well, let's see. My quarterback, Peyton Manning, is a stud. Every week he's been doing his job. He's definitely the leader of my team. But then we started on my running backs. We got Ahmad Bradshaw, who got a whopping 4 points. And that's pretty much been every other week for him. He'll have a real good week, then have a bad week. Reggie Bush did what he had to do. He got himself like 12 points. Considering he only carried the ball like 10 times, that's pretty good. Then he had Calvin Johnson, who's 1 touchdown this year. 1. My first round draft pick got me 1 touchdown. Kind of depressing. Steve Johnson, another bad one. Bills receiver, #1 guy. 29 yards. He's done that about 3 times this year. I don't know what to expect from him. Apparently, I need to expect 30-yard games from him. Another thing that hurt me, Connor Barth. I shouldn't have picked him up because of his name. Connor Barth, that can't be worth anything. He's 0 for 2 with 2 and 4 extra points, or 6 extra points. Got him 4 points because of the -2 on the field goals. If he makes one of those field goals, Ryan Barnes is doing the rant today and not me. And then let's get to the Redskins defense. The way I figure, the Redskins defense has got to have anywhere from 22 to 28 players that devote their time to playing defense. That's 28 times more than any other player I have on single points. They had 0 points. They couldn't record a sack, a fumble recovery, an interception. They didn't do anything positive in that game. Nothing. 22 to 28 players did nothing. They just lost the game. Then we start with my bench players. Well, the defense, the 49ers defense was on bye. What I expect. And Greg the Leg was on bye. Greg Zerline, best kicker in the league. Kicked 70 yarders. Danny Amendola's hurt, and he was on bye. He's coming back this week. Another white receiver. Gotta love him. Rob Gronkowski, the Beast, was on bye. And then Jacob Tamme. I've already talked about him. 1 point. I even watched the Bronco game, and after I saw the start of the game, he doesn't even start at tight end, where Joel Dreesen does. That was something I didn't know up until this week. It would have been nice to know that last week. Next question.
All right, Coach, are you concerned about Ahmad Bradshaw at all going forward?
I think he's not going to perform very well at any point. He's always complaining about his foot hurting. He's been complaining about it for 2 years. I'm thinking they just need to put a prosthetic on him and just amputate the regular one. It's not helping him any. He's had a couple good weeks, but other than that, yeah, I'm pretty concerned about it. Next question.
What roster moves do you expect to make to improve your team's performance?
We're currently in the contract negotiations with 2 free agents. One of them is the expert field goal kicker from the Houston Texans of last year. Neil Rackers is coming out of retirement to come on my team next week. And he will be, I don't know if he'll start, because they haven't released the news that if he's going to start or not, but he will be on my team next week. We're working on a serious contract with him, and there's one other one, but I can't remember it. So we'll have to revisit that here in a minute. Next question.
Would you be willing to trade Rob Gronkowski for any certain player?
Probably not. He's my best player.
He's your best player?
Yeah, he's definitely my best player at this point. Yeah.
How does your team stack up against the rest of the league?
Well, funny you asked that. I did some stat digging on that. And since we've had this Zoltan Fantasy Football League, by the way, the commissioner of this league has got this scoring system all wrong. The way it should be is the least amount of points every week should win. And if that's the case, Ryan Barnes will be winning this thing hands down. So the way I see it, over the last 3 years, we have 6 common players. And above those 6 common players, I am currently second in winning percentage. So the way I look at it, I am the Patriots of Fantasy Football League, the Zoltan Fantasy Football League. I expect excellence from this team, and they haven't done it. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to do some makeshift roster changes to get these guys on track. So I think I'm stacking up pretty good, except for I lost 3 in a row.
Coach, I noticed your shirt. Is that the new emblem for your team?
Yeah, that's the new roster.
That's
It's
pretty
the new
nice.
logo. We're trying to go with a different look. Oh yeah, I got to show you guys the Apocalyptic Bastard shirt here. That's the best shirt in the league, best uniform.
Looking good.
Yeah, looking good. Looking good.
All right, Coach. What are your chances of making the playoffs this year?
Well, I don't know if we'll have a chance to win another damn game. I think with this team, I'm lucky to break even at this point. I think if I just win one more game, I was 5-1. I was sitting pretty good. But now I'm 5-4, and Wesley, the commissioner, by the way, gonna have to talk to him about that. Is taking over the league now.
All right, Coach. Are you drunk?
What would make you say that? I mean, I'm just up here. You came to my office and wanted to interview me, and you ask if I'm drunk. I'm working here. I've been working every day for the last, 2 weeks, 6 to 9 every day, and you're gonna ask me if I'm drunk?
All right. That being said, would you like a drink?
Yeah. A closing statement here. I've got something to say about some of the teams in the league right now. I do believe I'm the only guy to do the rant that hasn't had Greg Little on his team or started him, so I do believe that's a good thing. And I am going to boldly predict that from here on out, with Neil Rackers on my team, I will win the Super Bowl.
One last question, Coach. Last year you had the lowest score and you didn't do the rant. Were you scared this year you're going to get kicked out of the league?
No.
If you didn't accomplish that?
Last year was just a confusing time for me. I was going through a lot of changes in my life, so it was really hard. I don't appreciate the comment on the question. I'd really like you to retract that question.
No, sir.
Well,
all right, Coach. Do you have any questions you'd like to ask yourself?
I'd have asked the question to ask you.
All
Actually.
right.
Yeah. How is it that every week you seem to find the rant? I just want to know. I mean, how is that possible? You were competing with me this week. If I had a field goal from Connor Barth, you'd have been sitting here, not me.
Sandusky Shower Squad has gone through a lot of injuries and a lot of touchy subjects.
A lot of touchy subjects.
So let's leave it out of it.
Any more questions?
That would do it for us.
All right, so do you need a DD tonight?
No, I'm good.
All right. That will conclude the
The
press conference
yes.
with Coach of the Bastards.